Hi everybody, welcome back to the Limit Breakdown, where we break down the latest in TV, movies, and everything going on in entertainment. I'm your host, Migs.
I'm Sid.
And today we're going to be doing our review of John Wick Chapter 4. And our too long didn't watch review of John Wick Chapter 4 is 3.5 hearts.
Overall, this movie had non-stop action from start to finish, really good fight choreography, and very compelling secondary characters.
However, we did feel like this movie did not need to be 3.5 hours long. There were contradictory rules that hung up the plot, and there seemed to be a never-ending line of henchmen. So that's what we gave it 3.5 hearts. But stay tuned after the intro for our in-depth thoughts and review on John Wick Chapter 4. Welcome back to the Limit Breakdown, and we're going to jump right into our review of John Wick Chapter 4. So let's kick it off. Sid, what are your initial thoughts on this fourth outing?
So I'll give you my overall John Wick thought, and then I'll tell you exactly. So I recently just saw John Wick 1, 2, and 3, like literally just recently. And this felt very seamless to the story,
yes.
Right? It's felt like it's right along. I think it's like from production point of view, it's a few years, right? It felt right along. There's no gaps in the storyline, so that was really cool. The fight sequences were fantastic. I really liked it. My only gripe was, well, good and bad. One, I felt the last two movies, 3 and 4, were a lot more gruesome. A lot more gruesome, a lot harder, and definitely more insane.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like a rehash of the other few movies. Now, I understand these movies aren't supposed to have that deep of a plot value, but they just kept, like, going. And for almost 3 hours, it felt like this movie is just going and going. Could have ended it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in the criticism that I don't think this one in particular needed to be 3 hours long. I honestly didn't feel that way about the other movies. I thought all of the other movies carried their momentum pretty well. I thought this one kind of slowed down a little bit, and while it and I say slow down and not in the sense because it's literally nonstop action from beginning to end. But just, at one point, it felt like the story wasn't progressing.
Yeah, there was just... I think it was... Now, though the fight choreography was fantastic, I felt like they kept adding useless fights in there for no reason.
Yeah.
For example, there was... when they went to Japan, there was a portion in the fight in Japan that they could have cut out an entire scene. That was cool. There was no point, because he was going to do more or less the exact same thing he would do in a later fight scene.
Yeah.
Right? Similar fight scene, similar action moves, similar stuff. And I'm like, they could have cut it out.
Yeah.
The very end, when they were doing the stairway, right?
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes of him fighting, I'm like, you could cut this out. You can cut this significantly out. Right? I'm like, though, again, great fight scene. I thought it was very entertaining, but it's more of a rehash of the stuff that already happened. Like, he can only shoot some guy in the head the same way 3 or 4 times, right?
Yeah.
Different ways, cool. But that was a little drug out to me.
So one of the things that I particularly love about John Wick as a whole is how much time they took. Because like you said, it's such an action-heavy movie that the plot doesn't have to be like super in depth. But what I do love about the John Wick series as a whole is that the depth of the world. Like, this world is very, very, very well developed. Like, the lore behind the High Table and like all of the different continentals and all of these different characters. Like, one of the key positives we gave were like all of these compelling characters. Like, I would not mind seeing a series based just on Kane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Even the whole Osaka thing when they went to Japan, I was like, oh man, that's really cool to have a Osaka Continental.
Yeah.
They have a whole traditional way they do stuff.
I absolutely love Hiroyuki Sanada.
Mm-hmm.
And so he played Shimazu in here.
Yep.
So like I've loved him in so many different things that he
was in Bullet Train last year too.
Yeah, Bullet Train. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw him was in the Tom Cruise movie, The Last Samurai.
Oh yes.
So like he's been doing like these great roles. So I'm absolutely a huge fan of his. And I thought that the choreography that they did with him was really well, and I really did like that whole Japan sequence, and then the fight with him and Kane. Oh, that was great, and of course the teaser at the end with his daughter coming back to face Kane in that post credit scene.
Yep.
So that left a nice little teaser cliffhanger
for if they do a spin-off or something.
But but like I said, they have so many of these compelling characters. I think the actress's name is Rina Sawayama. She played Akira. Shimazu's daughter, right?
And concierge,
right? And so they showed her with a whole bunch of badass skills. Like there
when she took off the robe and revealed the armor, I was like, "Ooh, it's about to go down!"
Yeah, I mean they had just so many cool characters. The tracker character, him and the dog,
nobody,
and all that.
Nobody. Oh man, yeah, him and the dog were really good. I wish I could train my dog like that. That was really good.
so that's what I'm saying. Like there were so many really compelling characters. Winston was always a favorite character of mine. Lawrence Reddick, who passed away this year,
rest in peace,
who played Sharon. He was a big part of the other movies, and he got killed in this one. But he was always like a very interesting character. So like the world is so well developed in these films, and all of these characters are so well. I feel like the most underdeveloped character in the franchise is John Wick himself.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I really like all the characters, and the world building is really cool. And how everywhere they go, they just give that coin. They're like, this is, and they're like, oh, we already know what this is about. Yeah. And it's all these words that they're, like they do it. How they call in for a hit. They call in you need to speak to accounts payable.
Yeah.
And in the entire, when they go to France, there's a radio host that like kind of informs them in a sly way what's going on. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, no, and the way they we were talking about how it seemed like they had a never-ending
supply of assassins,
of henchmen. But I mean, also they did keep raising the bounty on John Wick's head. So.
I mean, yes, but how many? I would understand if they're like, all right, there's a few, but it's like unimaginable amounts of people, and everywhere he goes, there's assassins everywhere. I'm like, okay, I would imagine if he's one world or one city, assassins, one city, just in Paris, especially just the end scene when he was doing the stairway, there was 100 dudes right there, and he's already killed 100 before that. Oh. He just never ending, and I'm like, how? At some point you're gonna run out of assassins, but nope. And he's like, I'm ready, and more people come in.
Well, it's kind of like the Marvel villain hierarchy of henchmen. It's like the Kingpin's never-ending supply, or
oh my God,
or a Ninja Turtle Shredder's never-ending Foot Clan.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kingpin, the guy that he had to kill.
The main villain, Marquis.
Before he had to kill the Marquis, when he had to.
The Elder.
No, not even the. Well, we'll get to that later. The guy in the purple suit.
Okay.
The guy in the purple suit with the gold teeth, where he had to prove himself to his family to be accepted back into the family. Yes. I did not think that dude could fight.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like, oh, you shot me in the butt. And then he's like, wah! And then he kicked John. Oh, my God. You know who it reminded me of?
Bob from Tekken.
Fair enough. That's pretty good. Yeah, he was. That was actually a pretty good fight.
He was like a weird combination of Hammerhead and Kingpin.
Yeah, I definitely got some Kingpin vibes. He had a full suit and everything. Yeah. And then the way he died, straight head.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah, there were some elements of it we were talking about, like just a lot of the rules. There were just like there were so many rules, and then there were so many like convenient rules. It's like the whole genesis behind this movie is he is supposed to be completely done. Like there's no more quarter for him. They're going to kill him, but now there's conveniently this rule where you can challenge somebody on the high table for a duel. And
yeah, that was cool. That was fine. But so going back to the rules thing, right? So at the very end, they're like, you have to accept the rules. These are rules. However, earlier in the movie, when they go into the Osaka Continental and they're like, oh well, we need to find John Wick. They're like, well, you can't spill blood. They're like, oh, conveniently, you're defunct now. Yeah. Or whatever the terminology is, like random something. But see, something has to happen for them to do that. They can't just randomly say, "Oh, you're defunct, so now we can shed blood." That seems kind of weird. That doesn't make sense.
I think that was kind of the point. I think with Marquis, it was kind of showing that he was more interested of gaining the fame and the prestige of doing whatever it took to take John Wick out. That he was breaking rules, and I mean, in the end, it was his own arrogance that led to him getting done in.
That end scene.
Oh, dude!
You could see his body flying.
And the thing about that was so awesome was when it went off, I only heard the one shot, and I instantly knew. I was like, he didn't shoot. So then when he's like, I'm gonna take the coup de grace, I'm like, bro. No, you messed up. You messed up.
He never shot. What? Oh, that was pretty good. I realized halfway through the movie, I was like, I know that actor. He's Pennywise from the It movies.
Is he?
Yeah, he's Pennywise.
Okay.
So the Marquis is Pennywise.
What's his name? It is Bill Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. Maybe, I don't know.
Skarsgård.
Yeah, he is Pennywise from the It movies.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't like clowns, so that's why I would know that.
Fair enough. One thing that did bother me, and I don't know if this is a Keanu Reeves thing, but his lines, he spoke in the most matter-of-fact time. They're like, do you want a gun? He's like, yeah.
I think Keanu Reeves is at a point in his career where it's no longer being cast as an actor to play a character.
They're being cast Keanu Reeves.
Is there casting characters to be played by Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Because he was just very much
besides his action sequences, which were again amazing. I think every time he spoke bothered me. Because
but I mean, he had like 5 lines in the movie.
I mean, that's why, because he'd be like, I need a gun. It's like a cross between William Shatner and oh my god, what's his name? I'm looking at him. He speaks like this, not William Dafoe. Oh my god. Christopher Walken. Oh. It was like a cross between William Shatner and Christopher Walken, and that's what he seemed like the whole time. And he's like, to get revenge. How would you like the battle? Pistols. I was like, oh my god, stop talking. Just get to the action sequence. Now, action sequences. Obviously, they were exaggerated to a degree, but they were still very realistic. Coming from a martial arts background, a lot of the moves that they used, I was like, that's possible. Like, that's something that you see. That's functional. In most movies, they'll flip them. They go like 17 flips, and then, I was like, that's something functional that happens. There's a lot of times that John Wick got his ass kicked. Yeah. And then would come back. That also happens in fights. So I thought that was really, really awesome. Specifically at the end, when he got kicked down the stairs, and he goes... Slinky's all the way down.
I'm telling you, man, that scene where he's bouncing down the stairs, like the only thing I could think of was Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura 2, where he's following the Slinky. Everyone loves a Slinky. You gotta get a Slinky.
Oh man, yeah. But that scene was pretty good. And then obviously after that, when Donnie Yen joined him, fantastic fight scene. I thought it was really, really awesome.
Yeah, Donnie Yen did a fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic job. But I mean, it's Donnie Yen. So
he even brought back his Ip Man thing where he's like, at one scene, I was like, he does it just enough to tease you and then backs off. I was like, there it is. I did like that they made him blind and kind of added, character depth to him.
I like the little alarms things that he
set up. Man, that was so cool. And he's like, ding. Very clever. Very clever. I want his cane. That was such a cool cane. And became a little sword rapier thing. Oh, man. I want that cane.
Yeah.
Cane
yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, there's just so much depth to the world. And going back to Marquis, man, he was such a douche. And it was just like, it's especially nowadays with like just villains being lukewarm. Like, we just watched Guardians of the Galaxy and like, the High Evolutionary was just kind of like there, like he didn't really, I mean, he was a bad guy, but like, whereas this guy, he was just like, what a dick. Like, he just had such a punchable face.
Yeah, definitely. And then on top of that, there were definitely moments where, so because they built him to be so bad, you could see other characters being like, we used to care about the rules, but now we just don't like this guy. Right? So the whole thing why the manager, what's his name? Winston was like, nah, I'm going to go against the high table. Same thing with Morpheus's character, Lawrence Fishburne's character. He was like, I'm going to go against the high table because screw this. Bowery, yeah. Same thing with the Osaka manager. He's like, I'm going to go against the high table because this is not, screw this guy. This guy is not cool. Right, yeah. And you can tell even Kane was like, I'm on his side, but I don't support him. So I think you build such a bad character where even other characters go against their morals to support John Wick or whoever it is to just defeat this guy. Yeah. And I thought that was really awesome. I'm pretty sure even the guy with the beard, I forgot his actual title in the movie, but he's the one that basically oversaw the duel at the end. Even that guy at the end was like, oh my god, finally this is over. This guy sucks. I thought that was pretty cool that everybody just didn't like him.
Right, so, final thoughts.
Overall, great fight sequences, entertaining on that manner, and great world building. But I feel it was drug out. They could have cut down like half an hour to an hour of that movie with a lot of repetitive fight scenes. And in true John Wick words, yeah.
So my final thoughts. I thought it was a good ending to John Wick. If they ended the series right here, I would be satisfied.
Yeah.
Obviously
he is dead.
Yeah. Obviously they're gonna. I mean, nobody really stays dead. So, they can always bring him back. But I mean, if they ended the series with this, I loved, like you were talking about, how from the first John Wick movie all the way to this one, like, it's seamless. Like, each movie, like, very fluidly transitions into the next. So that was really great. And I too recently watched the other three movies. So they're all still fresh in my mind. So, seeing that whole narrative experience was really satisfying. It was a really good way to bookend the entire series with this one. And yeah, so definitely I would say if you're a fan of action movies, check it out. It's not perfect by any means or stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely
entertaining.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best action movies I've seen in like the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that. Yep. So, let us know your thoughts and opinions on John Wick Chapter 4. If you liked it, disliked it, or any other things in the comments below. And we'll catch you guys next time. Okay?
If you like our videos, leave a comment, hit the bell, subscribe, and press the like button.
That's awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye! I hope your days are awesome.